You ever notice, kid, how people always promise they'll stay? I'll always be here for you. You can count on me. I'm not like the others. Lies. Beautiful, comforting, poetic lies. But when the time comes, when you need them the most, they're gone. Just like that. Like ghosts. Why? Because people don't love you. They love what they can take from you. They love the feeling of being needed. They love how you make them feel. But the second you become too much, too broken, too complicated, too real, they vanish. Because staying, that takes effort. And effort is a price most people aren't willing to pay. People don't leave because they have to. They leave because they want to. And here's the real joke. When they leave, they expect you to understand. I just need time. It's not you, it's me. You'll be fine without me. Oh, the audacity. They walk away with their excuses, while you sit there, drowning in the silence they left behind. They don't even turn back. They don't care that their absence is ripping you apart. You think they lose sleep over it? No. They move on like you never even mattered, and maybe you never did. But let's get something straight. They left? Good. They were never meant to stay. Because people who truly care, they don't run. They don't abandon you when the road gets rough. They fight for you. They stand by you. And if someone walked away, that means they were never strong enough to stand beside you in the first place. People leave because they can, because they don't value you enough to stay. And that should tell you everything. But let's talk about you, kid, for a second. Because here's the part no one likes to admit. You let them leave. You allowed them to walk away, didn't you? Maybe you begged. Maybe you cried. Maybe you tried to hold on to something that was already slipping through your fingers. But in the end, you let them go. And now you sit here, broken, blaming yourself. Why wasn't I enough? What did I do wrong? But that's the wrong question. The real question is, why were you waiting for someone to stay in the first place? See, the problem isn't that people leave. The problem is that you keep expecting them to stay. You keep thinking this time will be different. You keep giving away pieces of yourself to people who don't deserve them. And then, when they disappear, you're left with nothing but the emptiness they carved into you. So tell me, when are you going to stop giving people the power to destroy you? People leave. That's a fact. But here's another fact. The only person who has to stay in your life is you. You want loyalty? Find it in yourself. You want someone who won't leave? Stand in the mirror. Because at the end of the day, when the world walks out, when the people you loved turn their backs, when all you have left is the silence, who's still there? You. And that's all you ever needed. They left? Good. Let them. Let them run. Let them lose the chance to stand beside you when you rise. Because you will rise. And when you do, they'll regret it. But by then, there'll be nothing more than a memory, a ghost of a mistake you'll never make again. And that, my friend, is how the game is played. You ever notice how people leave when you're at your lowest? Not when you're laughing, not when you're on top of the world. No, no, no. They leave when you're bleeding, when you're struggling, when you're barely holding yourself together. That's when they decide they've had enough. Because staying means witnessing your pain. And people, they don't like that. They don't like messy. They don't like complicated. They don't like being reminded that life isn't just sunshine and laughter. So, when the darkness sets in, when you need them the most, poof, they vanish. Oh, and here's the best part. They'll act like you're the problem. You were too much. You changed. I can't do this anymore. Like it was all your fault. Like you should apologize for feeling. Like you should feel guilty for needing someone. And maybe you did. Maybe you sat there, head in your hands, blaming yourself, thinking if only you were less emotional, less damaged, less you, then maybe they would have stayed. But let me tell you something. People don't leave because of you. They leave because of themselves, because they don't have the strength to handle your truth. because they can't stomach the weight of your reality, because they are weak. Yes, weak. It takes strength to stand beside someone in their darkest moments, and most people, they don't have that kind of strength. They only want the easy version of you, the fun you, the convenient you. But the second you show them your scars, the second you stop pretending everything is fine, that's when they run. Because love, loyalty, commitment, those aren't just words. They require sacrifice. And people these days, they don't like sacrifice. They like comfort. They like to take what they need from you. And when you have nothing left to give, when you need them for a change, they walk away. And that is why people leave. Let's switch things up for a second. Let's talk about you. Because one day, you're going to be the one who leaves. Oh, you think you won't. You think you're different. You think your heart is too big, too kind, too forgiving. We all start that way. We all think we're the exception until we're not. Until we learn. Until we see the world for what it really is. You see, there's only so many times you can be abandoned before something inside you breaks. Before you stop believing in forever. Before you stop trusting promises. Before you stop waiting for people to come back. And when that happens, you become the ghost. You stop chasing. You stop explaining. You stop caring. You disappear before they can hurt you. You learn the power of silence. You see, that's the secret no one tells you. The ones who leave, the ones who abandon you without a second thought, they weren't born that way. No. They were made. Just like you're being made right now. Every person who left you, every betrayal, every moment you sat alone, wondering why you weren't enough. It's all shaping you into something else. And one day, when someone begs you to stay, when someone needs you the way you once needed others, you're going to look at them the same way the world once looked at you, and you're going to walk away. Not because you're cruel, not because you enjoy their pain, but because you finally understand. This is how the game is played. You ever hear the phrase, hurt people hurt people? It's true, but not in the way they think. See, weak people? They hurt others because they don't know how to handle their own pain. They lash out. They destroy. They take their anger and throw it at the world, hoping someone will feel just as broken as they do. But strong people, the ones who learn from the pain, the ones who have been abandoned, betrayed, left for dead, they don't hurt people. They outgrow them. They become untouchable. Because when you've been left behind enough times, when you've cried all your tears, when you've felt the knife of abandonment cut you open over and over again, something changes. You stop waiting. You stop hoping. You stop needing. You learn that the only person who will ever truly be there for you is you. And that's when the monster wakes up. Not the kind of monster they tell stories about. Not the kind that burns the world down for revenge. No, this monster, this one is worse. Because this monster doesn't care anymore. This monster doesn't beg for love. This monster doesn't chase after people who don't want to stay. This monster doesn't need anyone. And when the world realizes that, when they see that their absence didn't break you, that their leaving only made you stronger, that's when they panic. That's when they start regretting. Because the most dangerous person in the world is the one who no longer fears being alone. So here we are. You're still wondering, aren't you? Still hoping for an answer that makes it all make sense. Why did they leave? Why did they break their promises? Why did they act like you were their world one moment and then disappear the next? I'll tell you why. Because you were too real. You weren't an illusion. You weren't temporary excitement. You weren't another forgettable distraction in their meaningless little lives. You were raw. You were true. And that terrified them. Because real things, they require effort. They require courage. And most people, they're cowards. They left because they couldn't handle you. They left because they weren't ready for someone like you. They left because they weren't worthy of you. And now they're out there, searching for something else. Another quick fix. another hollow connection, another temporary escape. But you're here, still standing, still breathing, still becoming the person they will never get to know again. And that's the final joke, because they thought leaving would break you. But all it did was set you free. Listen, people leave. That's a fact. And for the longest time, you thought you needed them. You thought you needed their love, their validation, their presence to feel whole. But let me ask you something. What happened when they left? Did you die? Did the world stop turning? Did you vanish into nothingness? No, you survived, even on the nights when it felt impossible. Even when the loneliness felt like a knife against your skin. Even when the silence in your room was deafening. You survived, and slowly, day by day, piece by piece, you started to rebuild yourself. Not for them, not to prove a point, but because you had no other choice. Because when the world turns its back on you, you either let it crush you, or you learn to stand on your own. And the day you realize that you don't need anyone is the day you become untouchable. Because when you have nothing to lose, when you no longer crave love, when you no longer fear being alone, that is when you become the kind of person they regret losing forever. People think leaving is easy. They think they can walk away without consequences. But what they don't understand is that abandonment is a two-way street. Yes, they left, but in doing so, they taught you a lesson you will never forget. They taught you how to live without them. They taught you how to stop caring. They taught you how to be alone. And now, they can never hurt you again, because the only power they had over you was the power you gave them. And once you take that back, they become nothing. Just another person you used to know. Just another face that fades into the past. Just another mistake you will never make again. That's the price of abandonment. Not that you suffer, but that you survive and never look back.